By 260 AD, the Roman Empire was facing one of the most dangerous periods in its history. The empire was not being attacked from one direction, but from almost everywhere at once. In the east, the powerful Sasanian Persian king Shapur was pushing against Roman territory, while Germanic tribes were threatening the northern frontiers. At the same time, Roman generals were beginning to understand that an army could make them emperor, and provinces were starting to break away from central Roman control. In the middle of this crisis stood Gallienus, the son and co-emperor of Valerian. Gallienus had not inherited a peaceful empire. His father had gone east to confront Persia, but the campaign ended in one of Rome's greatest humiliations. Valerian was captured alive by Shapur, leaving Gallienus as the main Roman emperor, while his father remained a prisoner. The capture was devastating because a Roman emperor was expected to be protected by the power of the empire. Now, Rome's enemies could see that even the emperor himself could be defeated. Gallienus immediately faced another problem in the west. A Roman commander named Postumus had been proclaimed emperor by his troops and established what became known as the Gallic Empire. He controlled much of Gaul and had his own army, administration, and coinage. Gallienus could not simply march west and destroy him because Persia and the northern frontier demanded his attention. Rome was becoming too large for its old military system. For generations, Roman legions had been stationed along important frontiers, but the new enemies of the 3rd century could move quickly, attack deep inside Roman territory, and disappear before a distant army could respond. Gallienus recognized that Rome needed a faster military force. He began strengthening mobile units, especially cavalry, that could move rapidly from one threatened region to another. This was one of the most important military changes of his reign. He also increasingly trusted experienced professional commanders, instead of relying on the traditional senatorial elite for major military positions. The decision was practical, but it weakened the Senate's traditional influence and gave powerful soldiers even more authority. Gallienus now had to solve another problem. How could he give generals enough power to defend Rome without giving them enough power to overthrow him? In the east, he found an important ally in Odaenathus, the powerful ruler of Palmyra. After Valerian's capture, Odaenathus organized forces against Persia and achieved victories that helped protect Roman interests in the east. Gallienus accepted his growing authority because Rome desperately needed his military support. But this alliance carried a hidden danger. Palmyra was becoming stronger and more independent, and Gallienus was helping create a regional power that Rome might one day have to confront. While these political changes were taking place, Germanic invasions were increasing along the Danube. Gallienus had to move his armies repeatedly, fighting enemies outside the empire while also watching the Roman generals inside it. His greatest challenge was becoming clear. Rome needed stronger armies to survive, but stronger armies also created stronger commanders who could threaten the emperor. Gallienus had entered a struggle where every solution seemed to create another problem. And as the Gothic armies moved deeper into the Balkans and Roman commanders began choosing sides, Gallienus was about to face the most dangerous military and political test of his reign. The crisis became even more dangerous when large Gothic forces moved into the Balkans and began attacking Roman territory. Gallienus could not depend only on the old frontier armies, so he moved his mobile forces toward the threatened region. His cavalry gave the Roman army greater speed, allowing it to pursue enemies who could otherwise move quickly across the provinces. Gallienus personally took part in these campaigns, and Roman forces achieved important victories against the invading Goths. These victories proved that Rome was still capable of defeating major enemies, but they did not end the larger crisis. While Gallienus was fighting outside the empire, Roman commanders were still competing for power inside it. One of the most dangerous was Aureolus, a highly capable general who had become connected with Gallienus's mobile army. Aureolus eventually rebelled and seized Mediolanum, modern Milan, creating a direct threat to the emperor. Gallienus marched against him and began a siege, but the situation quickly became more complicated. The emperor had already discovered the greatest weakness of his own military reforms. The stronger and more mobile the army became, the more powerful its commanders became as well. Rome needed generals who could fight like Aurelius, but those same generals could become rivals to the emperor. During the siege of Milan, Gallienus was also dealing with the changing situation in the east. His ally, Odenathus of Palmyra, had become extremely powerful after fighting the Persians, but around 267 AD Odenathus was assassinated. His death created uncertainty, and his wife Zenobia soon emerged as the dominant figure in Palmyra. Gallienus had depended on Palmyra to help defend the east, but now a new leadership was beginning to turn that regional power into something much more independent. Gallienus had little time to react because his own position was becoming increasingly dangerous. Inside his military camp, a group of officers was preparing a conspiracy. The exact details of the plot are uncertain because the ancient sources disagree, but the result is clear. In 268 AD, Gallienus was assassinated by members of his own military establishment. The emperor, who had spent years fighting foreign enemies, was ultimately killed by the soldiers and commanders who were supposed to protect the empire. His death exposed the central weakness of 3rd century Rome. The army was the greatest force, keeping the empire alive, but it had also become powerful enough to decide who would sit on the imperial throne. After Gallienus's death, Claudius II became emperor and continued the military struggle against the Goths. Gallienus himself did not live to see Rome recover, but some of the changes made during his reign would become extremely important. His mobile armies and greater reliance on professional commanders helped create the military structure that later emperors would use to reunite the empire. Gallienus had failed to restore every lost province, failed to destroy his western rival, Postumus, and ultimately failed to protect himself from his own army, but his reign cannot simply be called a failure. He inherited an empire already breaking apart, and he kept the central Roman government alive while Persia, Germanic armies, rival emperors, and powerful regional leaders all threatened it. The empire was still divided when he died, but it had survived, and the next emperor would inherit the military tools that Gallienus had helped create. Gallienus was dead, but the problems he had spent years fighting did not disappear with him. Rome remained divided, Persia was still powerful in the east, Germanic enemies continued threatening the frontiers, and rival Roman rulers still controlled important territories. Yet something important had changed during Gallienus's reign. The Roman army was no longer relying entirely on the old system of fixed frontier forces. Mobile armies and cavalry had become increasingly important, and professional military commanders were gaining greater authority. These changes would soon become essential to Rome's recovery. Gallienus had not been able to reunite the empire, but he had helped create the military conditions that allowed later emperors to attempt it. His successor, Claudius II, achieved major victories against the Goths, but his reign was short. After Claudius came Aurelian, one of the most important military emperors of the 3rd century. Aurelian inherited an empire that was still divided, but he also inherited an army that had been transformed by years of crisis. He would use that army to attack the rival powers that had separated from Rome. In the east, Palmyra had become increasingly independent under Zenobia. In the west, the Gallic Empire continued to control Roman territories. Aurelian eventually defeated both, bringing the empire back under one central government. Gallienus did not live long enough to see this recovery, but his reign had helped keep the Roman state alive until such a recovery became possible. His legacy, however, was complicated. His military reforms made Rome more flexible and capable of responding quickly to invasions, but they also increased the political power of generals. His cooperation with Palmyra helped protect the eastern provinces, but Palmyra later became a major rival. His decision to rely more heavily on professional soldiers improved military leadership, but weakened the traditional influence of the Senate. And despite his military successes, he could not stop the political instability that eventually killed him. Gallienus, therefore, should not be remembered simply as a successful emperor or a failed emperor. He was a ruler caught between two versions of Rome, the older empire built around stable frontiers and powerful senatorial traditions, and the later empire that would depend heavily on mobile armies, professional commanders, and stronger centralized authority. His greatest achievement was not a spectacular conquest or a famous monument. It was survival. When he became the main ruler in 260 AD, Rome was facing enemies on several fronts and losing control of important territories. When he died in 268 AD, the empire was still wounded, but the central Roman government had survived. The crisis was not over, but Rome had not disappeared. The emperors who came after him would build on the military changes that had developed during his reign, and eventually Aurelian would reunite the Roman world. Gallienus's name may not stand beside Rome's most famous conquerors, but his story reveals something more important about the survival of an empire. Sometimes the ruler who prevents complete collapse is just as important as the ruler who later rebuilds what was lost. Gallienus could not save the old Rome, but he helped keep enough of the empire alive for a new Rome to emerge.